Hello guys, Croftus here. The Xenomorph is one of the cinema's most nightmarish creatures. Android Ash famously admired it as a perfect organism whose structural perfection is matched only by its hostility. A key aspect of that structural perfection is the creature's elongated domed head, a slick eyeless shell that conceals all the horrors known to man. So let's explore in depth what exactly sits under the Xenomorph dome and analyze its biology, the deadly jaws, and most importantly, how does the Xenomorph see? The Xenomorph's dome is actually a tough exoskeletal shell, giving the creature a biomechanical and almost armored appearance. In the original Alien of 1979, the creature was nicknamed Big Chap, and it had a sleek, translucent dome through which a human-like skull shape could be faintly seen under flashing lights. H.I. Giger actually built the original creature's head using a real human skull, which is just crazy. Early in the development, Ridley Scott actually wanted to have live maggots inside the transparent dome to show movement of the Xenomorph brain. While the maggots didn't make the final cut, the dome's semi-transparent quality still hints at a disturbing fusion of human and alien anatomy. Physically, the dome serves as both armor and sensory hub. It's composed of a highly resilient material strong enough to resist small arms fire and even the creature's own potent acid blood. This makes the head extremely tough to damage, like a living helmet. Underneath that armor lies the skeletal structure of the cranium and the creature's brain. One dramatic scene in Alien vs. Predator showed the Xenomorph head split in half, revealing brain tissue inside. If the dome defines the Xenomorph silhouette, its double jaws define its lethality. The creature's mouth features two sets of jaws, a primary outer jaw lined with metallic teeth, and an inner spring-loaded pharyngeal jaw that can shoot out like a piston. These jaws work in horrifying harmony during an attack. The outer jaws are powerful in their own, they can tear through metal and bone with ease and have an estimated bite strength of around 6,000 psi. The bite strength surpasses nearly any Earth animal. It largely exceeds the bite of a great white shark or a saltwater crocodile. However, the inner jaw is the Xenomorph's signature weapon, a piston-like tongue that can extend and retract in a blur. This inner jaw generates immense force at lightning speed, delivering a deadly head bite. It can smash through an adult human skull in one blow and even puncture a predator's metal biomask in close combat. The mechanism resembles a high-speed piston or spring. The result is a strike quicker than a viper's bite and stronger than almost any terrestrial predator relative to size. So how can a relatively slender-headed creature generate such a force? The entire head under the dome is full of dense musculature anchored to the inner jaws. Many people linked the motion to an eel's second jaws. An eel shoots a pharyngeal jaw forward to snare prey. But the alien weaponizes this concept, using its inner jaws not to help swallow food but to punch holes in its targets. So the combination of leverage from the outer skull structure, hydraulic-like muscle power, and perhaps tendon recoil gives the Xenomorph an extraordinary bite that can literally punch through walls. These tube-like structures along the Xenomorph's head work as biological hydraulic pumps, compressing the fluid and releasing it in an instant to generate the crushing power. So what lies under the smooth dome of a Xenomorph? The frontal portion of the dome covers the creature's sensory organs. The alien actually has no human eyes, which prompts a question of why is there a skull underneath the dome with empty eye sockets? The Xenomorph's origin is still a mystery, but it likely emerged as a result of engineered bioexperiments. And since the engineers often used their own bodies for their experiments, the Xenomorph absorbed an engineer-like skull into its own head, even without direct biological function. So instead of eyeballs, the Xenomorph relies on a combination of auditory and thermal signals to detect its prey. The alien's head acts like a satellite dish for sound, allowing it to pinpoint movement through a form of biological sonar. In addition to hearing, Xenomorphs can sense heat. Behind the dome's frontal plate are thermoreceptive organs that can detect temperature differences, letting the creature perceive the body heat of prey even in total darkness. The dome's material itself, described in some sources as a conductive carbon fiber, might aid in transmitting these signals. The alien also has nostrils, often not visible but still present around the mouth area. The nostrils connect to an extremely advanced olfactory system, allowing it to detect chemical clues and pheromones over long distances. Since humans release certain pheromones when are afraid, the xenomorph can literally sense the fear in the air. This extreme sensitivity is so strong that predator cloaking devices which bend light won't fool a xenomorph. The alien can still smell or otherwise sense the predator's presence regardless of optical camouflage. However, beyond that, the xenomorph appears to have rudimentary photoreceptors tucked away even without visible eyes. Primitive light sensors in the front of the dome grant the xenomorph basic depth perception. They may not form detailed images like human eyes, but help the alien gauge distances when punching at close range. So the overall picture is that a xenomorph quote-unquote sees the world through sound, smell, heat, and a hint of light, all processed by a large brain under the dome. But beyond all that, cinematic moments have given us hints of how xenomorphs perceive their surroundings. In Alien Covenant, there is a brief sequence that shows the creature's point of view during a chase. The view is distorted, wide-angled, and blurry, as if the world is seen through a fisheye lens. This portrayal aligns with the alien's sensory toolkit. It likely doesn't see crisp shapes or colors, but rather a smeared panoramic awareness of movement and heat. A similar effect appears in Alien 3 when the runner xenomorph chases a victim. Both films emphasize motion over clarity, suggesting that the alien tracks its prey by a mix of motion and echolocation. Video games actually doubled down on non-visual sight. Some Alien vs Predator games allow players see as a xenomorph, portraying the world in black and white sonar outlines, and with prey highlighted by pheromone auras. However, one comic storyline even proposes that the xenomorph possesses a psychic receiver organ in their head, detecting electromagnetic or bioelectric waves. The lack of eyes also highlights the terror. We cannot read its intent or mood. The xenomorph's face is an unreadable mask of teeth and smooth shell, giving nothing away and reinforcing its status as the ultimate other. However, the most terrifying and disturbing aspect of the xenomorph's dome is what it symbolizes. H.R. Giger's design blends themes of sexuality, fear, and biomechanical fusion of man and machine. The dome's shape is strikingly similar to a particular male organ. The xenomorph then blurs the line between male and female symbolism, a phallic-headed monster with a deadly oral birth of destruction mirroring the chestburster's violent emergence. This grotesque and disturbing undertone taps into primal fear of violation and uncontrolled reproduction. The dome also contributes to the xenomorph's faceless terror. With no eyes and no expression, the creature becomes the Freudian nightmare. Bodily violation, yet emotionless and cold. The xenomorph dome is also the symbol of the black entity. By removing any readable face, the design transforms the creature into a perfect Jungian shadow, the embodiment of everything we deny in ourselves. The skull behind the translucent cap teases at something humanoid, but the glassy cover forces us to project our fears onto a featureless void. In the same way a dark helmet gave Darth Vader anonymity, the xenomorph dome turns the alien into an empty canvas for primal fears. Another symbolism is the coffin image locked beneath the glass, because the human-shaped skull seems eternally trapped inside its own tomb. But whatever the angle, the dome keeps functioning as a mirror. We stare at it, and it throws our own darkest themes back at us. While the original Big Chap alien has a smooth, translucent dome, later installments introduced variants with different dome appearances. In Aliens, the adult warriors had ridged heads instead of a smooth dome, giving them a more armored, insect-like look. One theory suggests that the smooth dome is a youthful stage of the xenomorph that melts away, revealing ridges as the alien matures. The Alien's novelization implies multiple casts that can emerge from the same egg batch. It may also have been an artistic choice to make the hive army appear distinct and battle-ready. Alien Resurrection introduced cloned xenomorphs with slightly altered head shapes and grotesque newborn which had a pale humanoid skull face and no dome at all. In Alien Covenant, the pale neomorph has a shorter, smoother, skin-like dome with no ridged exoskeleton. It also lacks a prominent inner jaw, instead wielding needle teeth and a jaw that opens exceptionally wide. In addition, Covenant's protomorph, engineered by David, is similar to the classic design, but still shows slight differences in dome texture. Expanded universe variants such as Praetorians and Predalians have crest shapes and dreadlocks tendrils, blending with hosts' DNA traits. However, across all versions, the elongated skull and jaws remain the core identity of the xenomorph. Alien Romulus also has a really subtle detail about the xenomorph dome that's really easy to miss. When Bjorn tries to electrocute cocooned xenomorph with an electric prod, the blast burns a hole straight through the creature's dome. Later, when that scorched Xeno reappears, the wound hasn't sealed off and a faint blue current can sometimes be seen, as if the electricity became trapped inside the dome. This effect suggests that while the xenomorph was growing inside of the cocoon, it incorporated electric currents during incubation into its biology, leaving the xenomorph with a permanent, visible circuits that crackles whenever it moves. Thank you guys for watching. What do you think is the scariest aspect of the xenomorph head? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to join the Patreon for extra support. Also, like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for more content. My name is Croft and I'll see you in the next video.